Rusty, or Stephen of the family Aspinall, from Burnley, Lancashire, England, obviously. That's the landmass, not the corporation. My background is, since 1996, I've made my living by growing the hemp plant, yeah? I went to see a mate of mine called Matt. I'd met the guy on a plumbing course when I was training to be a plumber. He turned around and told me that I could grow weed lawfully, yeah, and told me about this Magna Carta. And obviously my first response was, you know, way, kiss it, you know what I mean? And I couldn't sleep at night because I kept thinking, right, this Peter I know is an intelligent man. Yeah, if it had been a crackhead or something who'd have turned around and said it, I wouldn't have believed him, yeah. I went down to see Pete, he ended up brilliant man, downloaded a load of files for me. Yeah, give me a lot of information to watch, which a lot with Rob Menard, Hero, yeah. And I watched me learning his stuff, understanding the legal fiction, and of course, every time I was reading and finding out more, I was getting more and more mad because of the way they'd been treating me over the years and classing me as an outlaw when it's actually them who's the outlaws and the villains, yeah. The more you read and understand what's actually going on. Anyone who is interested in going into this, you must really get and understand the basic thing, and that is your legal fiction and the difference between yourself being a man and not being the fictional name. And I think that's very important, you know, because that's the key to everything, isn't it? Once you've got that understanding, you can progress to another level. Yeah, so paperwork were done, I wrote to the Queen the 2 affidavits, I claim claim a right, yeah, which is basically making your own law. Yeah, and having a contract between yourself and the private corporation known as United Kingdom, yeah. And then I also served a private contract to the Prime Minister, which was Gordon Brown at the time, yeah, stating that I was withdrawing all consent to legislation and rules, and in fact that I was not a legal fiction, I was a living man with a big soul, yeah. Because you've got to look, the word person is a very interesting word. Yeah, because it basically means the human body with no soul, yeah? And it also means corporation as well, which is why you can never actually own anything as a person. So whatever you think you own, you don't really own. So it was a football match, so what I did is we were playing Leeds actually, so there was a massive police presence, and they'd all surrounded the lads in the pub. So what I did, they were riot police there, they were out with cameras, surrounded the pub, vans, everything like they usually do. There was a gap between 2 Black Mariahs, so what I did is I went and parked in between them, yeah? Then I went into the pub. I walked out, this policeman says, or policy enforcement officer should I say, shouts to me, is this your motor vehicle? To me reply, well no, it's my automobile. So he said, because it were on double yellow lines, he said, and what do these lines mean to you? I said, well actually they mean all to me. I'm like, yeah? He said, do what? I said, they actually mean all to me. I'm a freeman on the land, I stand on the common law only, yeah? That's a legislative rule, it's no standing over me. If you're going to be like that, we're going to take you down. I said, well that's fine, but I'll just have to warn you, I've got a fee schedule, £5,000 an hour, £5,000 if you want to handcuff me. I said I would gain all my inalienable rights, went through what you've got, you know, I don't know if people know what to say, but it's something you've got to learn, yeah? And then I asked him if he wanted to contract by offering me hands, to which he refused for some reason. So he ended up giving me a producer, which I told him there's no point giving it to me. As I was signing, I put under protest duress without prejudice, which means it can't be used in court, yeah? Signed it as Stephen of the family Aspinall, yeah? So he was happy to give me that. He'd never give me out for parking on double yellow lines for some reason, I don't know. Now, the basic common law is quite simple, really, and if everyone could abide by the common law, then there'd be no reason for have any other law, yeah? Now, the 4 concepts of the common law, to my understanding, are you don't injure or wound in any way, shape or form, being mental, physical, yeah? You don't vandalise property, you don't defraud on a contract, well, rip anybody off, yeah, and you don't thieve. And apart from them, yeah, there's no other laws you have to stand under, unless they're legislated rule. Now, what I've done is, when you put a claim of right, I have claimed a right for free trade, exchange and barter, yeah, you're writing your own law, yeah, and you're putting it down, and as you send it as an affidavit, and they note it down and put it on the record, and that is your private contract. So anything you put in your private contract is your personal law, and it stands for yourself, the man, between the man and the corporation. And that is basically, if they want to come and talk to you, or they want you to respond to letters, they charge you for a letter, so you tell them what you're going to charge them for a letter. If they want you in court, you give them your price. I think I'm 500 quid an hour. If they assault me in any way, shape or form, if they use any kind of spray against me or electronical device against my man and my body, yeah, I've given them, I think I've insured it for £1 million. So eventually, when you win your case, because you have to, if they follow their own due process, yeah, then you get paid out on your fee schedule, just like the lawyer would get paid. What you're actually doing, when you're creating your private documents to either you claim a right, yeah, or to the Prime Minister, or if you had a problem with somebody, any man or woman for anything, or what you do is you serve them an affidavit, a commercial affidavit, right? And all you're doing is you're suing them in the private, not going through the public sector. Say, for example, you've been pulled over in car, you've been unlawfully detained. So what you do, you write an affidavit, which is basically a statement of the truth, which is your truth. So I was pulled over unlawfully by so-and-so, so-and-so. They asked me to produce this. You was unlawfully assaulted when they put the handcuffs on you. Yeah, you was then unlawfully put into a police vehicle and transported to whatever station. You were unlawfully detained there. Point to point, you put in your words. Then what you do is you serve that to whoever's done it, and you give them the 21 days for it to come back, yeah, and challenge any point on there, yeah, which they can't because it's your truth, yeah. So then what happens after the 21 days, you send them what's known as a notice of default, which is confirmation of they haven't rebutted anything or challenged anything in that previous document. So therefore, because they haven't challenged it, by a law of acquiescence, by estoppel, that is a lawful document. Now what you've got to do is you've got to provide them with a remedy. Yeah. Now a remedy would be for whatever situation you'd put right. If you wanted, your fee schedule was £5, you were in there for example, myself, I think I did 13.5 hours, so mine will have 13.5 hours times £5, plus £5 or something for each assault and taking your prints, etc. So they'll be but you've got to provide the remedy on it, yeah, because if you create a complaint, yeah, you've got to provide the remedy, yeah. So the bill of exchange needs the remedy, the Joey Joer and the date. The notary public, well, basically that's the seal of the Vatican. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what makes your document lawful, because they work in the private. It stems back from the church. They've got the power of the church, which is a law upon its own, you know, higher than any. There's an old law, and which is what we were cross-examining the notary, we actually brought it up as if anything had been amended from the first Bill of Rights. So, and he stated no. So what you can do is you can have 3 good men instead of a notary, which is 3 good men. So any man can witness. It's only the proof of you're the man signing that document. Yeah, and it's your truth. Yeah, and you're obviously doing it under oath because it's to do. Yeah, so that's you testifying. The word testify means to put your balls on the line, testicles. Yeah, that's where it originates from. It might as well be an office. Yeah, because all it deals with is administration. There's not actually any just judicial decision that made there. Yeah, it's a contract. It's a contract court. Yeah, which is and it's a legislative court. If you don't want to contract, you don't have to. You've got the right to revoke your consent to any of the proceedings.